Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of corporate filings. Today we're diving into a Form 8K filing from Quipt Home Medical. It might sound boring, but trust me, there's some interesting stuff here about executive pay and a peek into their plans for the year. It's not all dry numbers. This Form 8K filing tells us about some important events at Quipt Home Medical, including stock grants to key executives and the release of their strategic priorities for the year. It's like a snapshot of what's happening right now and what the company is planning. Let's talk about executive compensation. The board of directors approved some pretty significant stock grants. Gregory Crawford received 943,300 got 34,347, and Thomas Roerig received 1110,000. These stock units will vest or become fully owned over 2 years. This means that the executives will get the shares in 2 years as long as they stay with the company. It's a way to motivate them to stick around and help the company do well. Moving on to the company's disclosures, Quipt Home Medical issued a press release with some information. This is called Regulation of Disclosure, and it is basically when a company makes sure everyone gets important information at the same time. They want to avoid giving some people an unfair advantage. The press release is a bit of a spotlight on what the company is planning to focus on this year. They also talked about the results of their annual shareholder meeting, like who got voted onto the board. They also announced that they were giving out stock awards and stock options to employees, directors, and consultants. Stock options give you the right to buy company stock at a certain price, kind of like a coupon for the stock. We can find the actual press release as Exhibit 99.1. It is a document they attach to the report so people can read it for themselves. This helps the company be transparent. Quipt Home Medical released a press release outlining their strategic plans for the year 2025. It also reveals the voting results from their annual general meeting. Lastly, they discussed the issuance of restricted stock awards and stock options to deserving officers, directors, employees, and consultants. Now, let's talk about the broader picture here. Quipt Home Medical is in the business of providing home medical equipment and services. That means things like oxygen therapy, sleep apnea treatment, and other devices that people need to manage their health at home. The market for this kind of stuff is growing, especially as the population ages and more people want to receive healthcare in their homes instead of hospitals. So giving stock to executives is a way of saying, we want you to help us grow. It encourages them to focus on the long term because the value of their stock will go up if the company does well. But it also means that if the company doesn't do well, they don't get as much money. One thing to keep in mind is that stock grants can dilute the value of existing shares because there are more shares floating around. However, the company probably thinks it's worth it to motivate the executives. Quipt Home Medical seems to be positioning itself to take advantage of the growing home healthcare market. Their strategy of acquisitions and organic growth seems to be paying off, but they need to make sure they don't overextend themselves financially. The restricted stock units will vest over 2 years, aligning the interests of these executives with the long-term performance of the company. Now, for my opinion, Quipt seems to be a company with clear plans to grow by buying other companies and also by increasing their sales directly. The company is clearly in a growing market, but they will need to control costs, not overpay in acquisitions, and carefully integrate them. Their leaders seem incentivized with stock, which is good because that means if the company does well, they do well. But they need to make sure this compensation is sustainable for future employees. And the stock grants don't dilute the value of the shares for all the company owners. SCI, overall, Quipt seems well placed in the market, but their future will depend on their ability to execute their strategy well. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, give us a like, leave a comment, and definitely subscribe for more Corporate Decoder videos.